The Laws of Ascension, Chapter 28, Defeat. As soon as the headmaster starts the match, Torrens starts running towards Sarah. He tucks his head down and pulls his shoulders closer, his fists in front of him as he runs. Sarah tosses both her daggers up as magic circles appear on each of her wrists. A dagger made of golden light appears in each hand. She throws them far to Torrens' left and right. After throwing them, she catches her daggers. The light daggers curve, closing in on the Torrens' sides. Just before they make contact with his skin, a metallic-colored magic circle appears below his feet. His skin changes color and turns into metal. There's a clang as the two daggers bounce off his now metallic skin. Where they each bounced off is a small cut, but only one has a small drop of blood coming out of it. As soon as his body turns into metal, his run slows down. Now he looks like he's speed-walking. "That's a third echelon metal law," Cyrilda says with a slight smile. "How do you know it's a third echelon?" Vera asks. "It affects his weight. Second echelon laws won't do that. Fourth and fifth echelon can't cover the entire body as a lesser mage." Cyrilda explains as Sarah backs off. She creates some distance between them and gets ready to toss some more daggers. As she does, Torrens' skin turns back to normal. He takes off sprinting as soon as it does. Sarah does the same, sprinting toward him without hesitating. As she runs, she tosses her daggers. Torrens casts the spell again, and his body turns to metal. Before it can, however, the daggers hit him. One grazes his side, while the other embeds itself into his left shoulder. Sarah tries to stop herself when she sees his skin change, but it's too late. Torrens tackles her and pins her down. With his body in its metal state, he's too heavy for her to push off. Any daggers she makes with her law won't be able to do anything to him either. Sarah struggles for a few seconds before sighing and going limp. "I admit defeat," she says before Torrens gets off. His body returns to normal, and a healer runs up to treat him. The healer takes the dagger out and hands it back to Sarah. After collecting her other dagger, she returns to the others. "You did well out there," Cyrilda says as she exits the stage. "Did I? I felt like I panicked at the end." Sarah replies, "You did, but all things considered, charging him like that was probably your best bet." Cyrilda replies, "Rowan, Lyra, it's time for your match." The headmaster shouts after Torrens healed and off the stage. Rowan and Lyra head on up and get in place. Rowan takes out his mace and shield as Lyra holds a bow. There's a quiver on her back full of arrows. "Ready?" Rowan says while holding his mace and shield up. "Ready?" Lyra says while knocking an arrow. "Then begin," the headmaster shouts. Lyra quickly draws her bow and aims it at Rowan. A crimson-red magic circle appears around the center of the arrow. The arrow bursts into flames as she shoots it. Rowan holds up his shield and the flaming arrow crashes into it. The flames disperse along the shield as the arrow falls. Lyra readies another arrow as Rowan starts running. He slows down as she points her bow at him. Another arrow slams into his shield. This time, instead of dispersing, the flames envelop his shield. Rowan waves his shield before tossing it aside as the flames start to burn his arm. Lyra shoots another arrow, which Rowan barely dodges. "Earth Spike?" Rowan shouts as Lyra readies another arrow. A brown magic circle appears beneath her. She quickly lowers her bow before jumping out of the circle. As she does, 3 spikes shoot out of the circle one after another. One grazes her right leg before she can get out. "Fireball!" he shouts as she lands. Lyra pulls her bow back as a magic circle appears next to Rowan. He shoots as a fireball shoots out of the circle. Her arrow pierces and goes through Rowan's fireball. The fireball disperses and her arrow slams into Rowan's chest. He couldn't see the arrow's trajectory through the fireball and couldn't dodge. "That's enough. Lyra wins," the headmaster says while creating a vine to stop Lyra from shooting again. She puts her arrow back into her quiver, and a healer tends to Rowan. "Are you ready to lose Lorik?" Cyrilda asks jokingly. "Next time we're choosing and I get the fun one," Vera adds while gently hitting him on the shoulder. "We'll see." Lorik replies before Rowan joins them. "We need to work on your ranged attacks and your spells," Cyrilda tells him, causing him to sigh. "Lorik and Alira, it's time for your match," the headmaster shouts. Sarah pushes Lorik toward the stage after hearing him. "Put on a good show," she says as he walks onto the stage. "Good luck. Don't break anything," Rowan shouts, causing him to sigh. "Are you both ready?" the headmaster asks. "Yes," Lorik replies. "Same here," Alira says. "Then begin." Headmaster Arlen shouts. A magic circle appears in Lorik's eyes as he summons his soul sword. A second one appears and embeds itself into Lorik's head. His aura changes from a 7th-tier lesser mage to a 5th tier. Alira reaches out and a magic circle appears next to Lorik. It's about a foot wide and bright blue. Lorik jumps forward to avoid it, as a long and slender spike of ice shoots out of it. Its tip would have pierced his leg had he not moved. Suddenly, 10 more magic circles appear around Lorik. Each circle is spaced a foot apart from one another. Despite the number of circles and the fact that he's now standing on one, Lorik doesn't move. Spikes only come out of 3 of the 10 circles. The circle he's standing on didn't create a spike. That's an impressive trick, Miss Alira, the headmaster says as the circles disappear. The ice spikes remain, and Lorik smiles. He throws his soul sword in his hand at Alira. She easily dodges it and looks back at Lorik. A magic circle has appeared around each of his elbows. Phantom beast claws cover his hands. He punches the closest ice spike and breaks it. He then grabs chunks of ice and starts throwing them at Alira. Alira dodges them and more circles appear around Lorik. He jumps out of the way as more spikes of ice thrust out of the circles. Alira keeps Lorik on the move by constantly creating more spikes. She keeps making them in front of him, eventually trapping him in a cage of ice spikes. It took her a few minutes to trap him, and she had to move to avoid him from getting too close. A phantom wolf head pops out of a magic circle behind Lorik's head. It howls, shaking the souls of those who hear it. The headmaster is unaffected, but Alira falls to her knees. Lorik takes this chance to break out of the ice cage. He sprints toward Alira as she gets back to her feet. A magic circle appears under her as she does. Body of Frost. She shouts as a phantom wolf head jumps out of the magic circle below her. It bites down on her as a bright blue magic circle appears around her waist. The wolf's head then freezes, getting covered in a layer of ice. The magic circle freezes as well. Once the circle stops spinning, the wolf head and circle both burst into small shards of ice. Alira appears on her feet, her body emitting a faint mist. Her uniform is slowly getting covered in a layer of frost. Her blue hair seems to be glowing slightly. Lorik closes the distance and throws a punch at her head. She uses her left hand to push his arm. She grabs him before he throws another punch at her side. It connects and she gasps for air. Despite landing the hit, Lorik quickly backs off and creates some distance. His right arm, which had been grabbed, is covered in a layer of ice. Where her hand touched is numb and frost covered the nearby area. The fist that punched her side is covered in a layer of frost as well. This will be a problem. Lorik mutters before smiling. He rushes Alira again and throws another punch. This time, she ducks down and leaps forward. She wraps herself around Lorik's lower chest and squeezes tightly. Lorik reaches down and grabs her hips. He spins while pulling her off and tosses her away. But his lower chest is covered in frost by the time he does. It's fast. If I waited a few more seconds, my chest might have been frozen. I can't let her grab me again, but she can freeze my wolf bite spell. There's a cooldown to my beast howl, so I can't afford to waste it when it won't guarantee results. Not that I can use it yet anyway. It's still on cooldown. Should I use my soul sword instead of my beast paws? Lorik thinks before Alira reaches out. 3 more magic circles appear around him. Lorik snaps out of his thoughts before dodging the ice spikes. He starts charging Alira again, as she creates more spikes. She only does this to slow him down before charging him as well. Once they're close, she stops and slams her foot on the ground. Ice swiftly spreads out and covers the floor of the arena. Lorik slips on the ice and loses his balance. As he does, Alira slams her fist square into his chest. Lorik grabs her wrist with his right hand and pulls. She stumbles forward as he bashes his head against hers. She stumbles back before Lorik kicks her feet out from under her. He jumps on top and starts punching her again and again. She blocks with her arms, blocking her head from the blows raining down on her. If I can't avoid the ice, then I'll just knock her out before it freezes me. Lorik thinks while raining down blows. After half a minute of this, just before the headmaster stops him, Lorik suddenly tenses up. His fists have gone numb, so he's just hitting her with his hands. All of a sudden, his spells vanish and the sword in his head disappears. Lorik falls to the ground, limp and unconscious. Headmaster Arlen quickly lifts him up and away from Alira before checking for injuries. What happened? Cyrilda asks as Alira cancels her body of frost spell. She runs up next to Arlen and looks over Lorik's body. His legs and hands are covered in a layer of ice. I'm not sure. There are no signs of anything out of the ordinary. Arlen replies before the rest of Team 1 runs onto the stage. Why'd he pass out? Sarah asks, while looking at Lorik, causing Cyrilda to shrug. It must have been his soul ability, Vera says, causing Headmaster Arlen to nod. He did mention only being able to use it for 10 minutes before. The match must have exceeded his time limit. Arlen adds before turning to the healer. He had ran up to treat Lorik, but since there were no injuries, he just waited nearby. Take him to the infirmary to monitor just in case, he says before the man nods. Arlen makes his vines lift Lorik onto the man's back. He carries Lorik off the stage before leaving the arena. Well, this victory goes to you, Alira. We'll have Lorik transfer the points once he's woken up, Headmaster Arlen says before leaving the arena. Thanks for the match. We won't lose again next time, Rowan says, causing Lyra to chuckle. I didn't expect to be thanked by our opponents after winning, Lyra says. They transfer their points to the winners, Sarah and Rowan both paying 2,000 points. Vera gets 2,000 from her opponent. After they've paid, Cyrilda takes Sarah, Vera, and Rowan away.